once we've gotten our melody into our notation software, we can now go back and begin making things a little more jazzy, a little more singable by going through and maybe altering some of the original rhythms that were included that we just copied over directly from the lead sheet. Again, I encourage you to sort of treat this as a two-step process just to avoid getting frustrated or trying to do too many steps at one time. A lot of times, if we give ourselves sort of a canvas to work from, it's easier to sort of fill in all our ideas instead of both trying to create the canvas and fill in all the ideas at one time. Of course, if you're adapting a melody that's mostly quarter notes or mostly half notes, there's a few things we can immediately do to make things more conducive to the jazz idiom. The first idea that I did in the first few bars is add some syncopation. I'm not adding a lot of syncopation. I'm just displacing certain phrases by either anticipating or delaying them. Instead of having a phrase that's that is on beats 4, 1, and 2, we're now 4, 1, and the and of 1. That adds some excitement. Later on, you'll notice that I'm trying to shorten some phrases. I might be adding a few notes. I might be adding some embellishments, some upper or lower neighbors. I might be adding in a few skips. In this bar that I just finished, you notice that is now entirely all syncopated, which again sort of gives it a feeling it's much more sort of conducive to the jazz idiom. If you were leaving this up to the soloists, you could always, include some text that says, ad lib in a jazz style, or ad lib, or interpret however you want. If you're writing a melody that might be played by a full section, or there might be like a small group within a group, then of course we definitely want to look with this sort of level of specificity. In this case, because we're going to also be writing in some hits and backgrounds later on, I'm trying to give sort of very specific rhythmic ideas and rhythmic shapes for some things that might be effective when we add in those other voices. You notice again that I'm not doing a ton of different things. I'm not trying to potentially rewrite the chart. I'm just trying to make some subtle little changes that I think will work pretty effectively. The other thing that I noticed as I was going along is that this particular arrangement, if I keep it in its original key, is definitely on the lower side for the trombone. E flat major is a great key to play in, and this melody works okay. But for some of the other ideas that we might want to look at later on, especially when we're thinking about sort of the range of the trombone, it might just sound a little more brilliant, a little more full, and a little more comfortable in a different key. In this case, I think if we move it up a fourth to A flat major, I think it's actually a very, very good place for this particular melody. If we take a closer look at some of the melody notes of the upper range, you also see that those are right in a comfortable spot that's not too high, but that are immensely playable. That'll give us lots of room to harmonize trombones underneath it if we wanted to, or harmonize the lower saxes underneath it, while at the same time, again, making something that isn't unplayable for trombone 1.